Welcome to the Albert T. Chester CPA Today Show. We have in our show today a very special honored guest. His name is the Reverend Dr. Victor A. Brown from the Mount Sinai United Christian Church. Dr. Brown, it's good to see you in our show today.
My pleasure being with you today.
Just like to ask you some questions about how our firm have helped you, and in so doing, Dr. Brown, how has the Albert T. Chester CPA firm really helped your organization?
Well, I think what's important to note is how the Lord brought us into each other's path. About 3 or 4 years ago, our church, the Mount Sinai Church, was looking at how we could be more effective in our community. And the end result of that was the creation of the Mount Sinai Skills and Development Corporation. At that time, we were looking around for an accounting firm who could perform our incorporation for us. And it just so happens that we received in the mail a card from Albert T. Chester. I was going through my mail and had thrown the card into the garbage and had called a good friend of mine, Dr. Y.T. Walker's office, and had gotten a recommendation from them in terms of using their accounting. And then I remembered I had thrown that card away. Wow. And it just so happens that I reached into the garbage can, picked it back up, and I called Albert T. Chester, and we had an opportunity to meet each other at a conference that you were having about a week after that.
That's correct.
And I sat and discussed with you what our needs were, was very, very satisfied with what you shared with us, and it's been a beautiful relationship.
Yes, it has. And Dr. Brown, also, you would know a lot of different churches and a lot of pastors and reverends from across the country. And what is your feeling on churches being compliant with their books, their records?
Well, I think it's a non-negotiable issue. I mean, it's unfortunate, but many churches have not really taken seriously the need to be as administratively astute as they are spiritually astute.
Yes.
So in many instances, the business affairs of the church go lacking. What many of them are not really cognizant of is that the Internal Revenue Service can at any point in time come in and examine books and records.
That's correct.
What churches need to be aware of is that at any given time, the Internal Revenue Service wants to come in, they should want to be in a position where they can tell the Internal Revenue Service, turn off the lights when you've finished your audit.
Yes, that's right. We've assisted Dr. Brown in many different areas. Also, the Mount Sinai Skills and Development, which you've changed your name. What are we doing with that right now? Where are you with that, Mount Sinai?
Well, it has been a real blessing what your firm has done for the Mount Sinai Skills and Development Corporation, because you were able to expedite the process of incorporation and the acquisition of the 501c3 status. We were able to successfully qualify for a grant that one of our local senators, state senators, is sponsoring for us. For $250,000 that's going to be used for the acquisition of our headquarters. We have also been successful in obtaining other funding we would not have gotten had we not had the incorporation. The other thing I think is really important to note is that the acquisition of the 501c3 status is usually a 4 to 5 month process.
Yes.
And you were able to expedite that for us in 7 weeks, which was very, very effective.
Yeah.
And I was very, very impressed with that.
Oh, thank you. Dr. Brown, you know, it's not feasible sometimes to speak to every pastor, every church all one time. How did you, from your perception, perceive the conference when you were there? What did you get from it? What do you advise to other pastors, other churches, or board of trustees about conferences of this nature?
Well, because of my finance background, I have a degree from St. John's University in finance. Worked for about 13 years as an auditor with the U.S. Department of Labor. So just based on that experience, when I came into the conference, there were certain things I was looking for. And I was very impressed with the fact that you were giving accurate information, and up-to-date information.
Yes.
And you exhibited a genuine concern for the needs of pastors. I did not perceive that your presentation was a hustle
Okay, right.
in order
100%. Yes.
order to garner business.
Yes.
And that was what impressed me most of all.
Yeah, what we try to do at the conferences is give out information, a lot of information. I've been told at our other conference we had in the Sheridan, Mr. Chester, son called me Brother Chester, you give out so much information. It's so relevant to make sure and ensure that people, pastors, receive relevant information. There's a lot of information out there, but how much is it actually relevant and useful for the churches? And I know when we met, what a glorious time that was at the conference. And from that day on, we've had a relationship that's been just going on and on.
Yeah,
and
it's been a great relationship. From the outset, we were looking at the issue of wanting to be in compliance with the Internal Revenue Service. Since we have engaged you, which has been about 3 years now, I guess it's been, you now serve as the accountant for our church, as well as the Mount Sinai Skills and Development Corporation, which is now the Mount Sinai Center for Community Enrichment. We just recently got the name change for us, and we're grateful for that. You have successfully led our church in a tax compliance audit. You have helped me personally in my transition from working with the U.S. Department of Labor to being full-time pastor.
Right.
So you've been very instrumental in that regard with obtaining the exemption from Social Security and other very, very relevant matters.
Dr. Brown, what do you think about the employment of certain of the strategies that we implemented? Were you even aware of some of these strategies that were implemented? Or was it just new to you?
I'll be honest with you. I try to read as much as I can. And I had read several tax compliance books for clergy. And some of what was shared at your conference did not appear in those books. So I was very, very not only impressed but edified by what was shared there. And as a result of that, you've helped me personally in terms of my taxes, as well as having helped the church.
Yes.
You know, in terms of doing the business of church in a way that conforms to the regulation of the Internal Revenue Service.
Yes.
Special announcement. The Albert T. Chester Show is a show that gives information to help churches and all nonprofit organizations. If you would like more information, please call the number at the end of the show.
Dr. Brown, in addition, we've helped so many other pastors modify and amend their personal income tax return. We've seen so many returns prepared inaccurately, erroneously, because number one, the preparer is not aware of the accurate rules and regulations by the IRS, and the pastor, of course, doesn't understand what's going on. So when the preparer completes the return, it's wrong, so they're both inaccurate. So when I review the returns, I see so many pastors don't know about the housing allowance, doesn't know how to allocate the housing allowance. The salary is sometimes minimal or excessive. There is no threshold. They don't understand where to go, what to do. Our firm has been doing this for many hundreds of actually pastors. I'm sure you know of other pastors too, and you've referred us actually to other pastors and other churches. You've been very instrumental in that also.
That's correct.
In addition, your church itself, we did an audit for your church.
Correct.
How was that process?
Well, we learned a lot through the process. Not only did we learn a lot, but we also found that there were some things that were not in compliance. And I found that to be surprising because, again, I had read quite a bit of information and really thought I had our administrative office running in compliance.
Right. You know what was very also instrumental was the time you invited me to come down, and I had a little conference or a little mini seminar down there.
That's correct.
And that was so eye-opening when we were going through some financial planning, because we also get involved in investments in retirement and insurance planning, all that stuff.
Right.
And many churches have hired us to come down. Some have done it for free, where we educate and edify members, because there's so many members out there don't know about even tithing, don't even know about putting their money into a mutual fund, or how to invest for a later retirement day. These things are unaware. They just don't know. You know, the Bible says lack of knowledge, people perish. And what I see, what you've done, which is wonderful for me to come down there, you think this is something that's major beneficially for the church that we should continue to do for other churches?
By all means, I think it's something that should be done. Unfortunately, because many churches do not have a lot of resources, they may not see coming to you as a necessary expenditure.
Okay.
They may think they can go to someone who's
Okay.